Okay, and we're live. All right.
Yay,
This is exciting. Welcome, welcome,
Hannah.
welcome. We've started right on the dot, and we're pretty,
Yeah,
pretty excited for this conversation. We hope you are as well too. So we'll just give it a few seconds to allow for people to join wherever you're joining us from. The road, Amatatu, your bed, your kitchen. We're really excited to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Yvonne, how are you feeling?
I'm so excited. I love, as in, I live for trainings, for webinars, career development. I live for this. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I know, I know.
And you?
We're just talking, me too. We're just talking with Yvonne and we're saying how it's good that it's a conversation because it's something that we would generally talk about regardless. So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah,
nice to be able to talk about what you love and do what you love. It's a blessing, really. Yeah.
it really is.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. So I guess we can start off. We're a minute in. For those who will catch us later, we'll have the recording on our Instagram, I think, on LinkedIn. We're streaming on Staff Scout, yes, on Staff Scout Instagram,
Yes.
on Career Kickstart, Instagram, on Career Kickstart LinkedIn. So welcome, karibu karibu sana. Please, if you're joining, please let us know where you're joining us from, what country, if you're in Kenya, where exactly are you joining us from? Let us know in the comments. Hopefully we'll be able to see it on our end. But welcome. So welcome again. So this is Career Circle. It's a new webinar series that we are starting or here on Career Kickstart. And we're so glad and so excited for this series because it's really just going to be us drawing from the insights of career professionals in able to be able to navigate the career landscape. And I'm so glad that Staff Scout chose because we really did choose to collaborate with us on this journey that we're going to be taking through this year. Just having conversations around careers, the world of work, everything in between, and hopefully we'll also be having other careers professionals join us and share their own insights. Yeah. So my name is Marianne Somba. I am a careers development practitioner here in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm also managing director at Career Kickstart, where we work to empower emerging professionals to have local and global success. Yeah, that's me. So I want to invite Yvonne to introduce yourself, and then we can get going on this topic.
Great. Um, Miriam, I didn't catch you there. Did you? Am I to introduce myself now? Can I go
Yes,
ahead?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Come. Yes, yes.
Good. My name is Yvonne Shasuvila, as Miriam had mentioned. I am a career professional, a career development professional as well. Have been one for the past, I'd say, 4 years or so. In Kenya, that is a pretty new
Yeah,
industry. Yeah. So we are
yeah.
ideally the pioneers, yeah, of this
Yes.
space. I think it's safe to say that we are one of the pioneers, yeah, of this space, and we are really excited that it's really catching on.
Mm,
So aside from that, I actually am the managing director, founder, and CEO of Staff Scout Kenya. What we do at Staff Scout is we do quite a bit of recruitment and placement. We do also trainings in high
mm,
school, university, and for individuals even throughout their career journey. And then we also do quite a bit of, career personalized coaching services, and also in the near
mm.
future, have like, some sort of freelance work as well. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, you're welcome, welcome. And I like that you actually do everything. You are the perfect blend of HR and careers, the careers profession.
Yeah,
Because most times I find people confuse HR and careers profession. So you are actually a blend of both of
I'm a
them.
blend of
So
both. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So going to do a lot of
Yeah.
insights also from you. I want to welcome Dennis from Lower Kabete. We also have a guest from Dallas, Texas, all the way from Dallas, Karibu
Oh,
Sana.
wow. Nice.
Yeah. Welcome. Please
Welcome.
let us know. Yes, welcome, welcome. Let us know where you're watching us from. If you're watching, you can also start sharing your questions in the comments, and we will be addressing that later in the conversation. Yeah. So today's topic is career planning insights. Yeah, and we've been talking a lot about planning from the end of last year. We are now at the beginning, and I don't know about you, Yvonne. Do you tend to plan at the end of the year or the beginning of the year?
I prefer planning at the end for sure.
At the end.
I love getting into the new year when, planning is already done. But yes, I
Yeah,
get people who do it at the beginning of the year. That was me a while back, but now,
yeah,
yeah, I prefer the end. You?
yeah. Funny, but I'm actually the beginning of the year because at the end I'm just done. I just want to close my laptop and not see any email, no yeah, attached. I don't want to see all of that. I just want to rest. So I'm actually a beginning of the year planner. Yeah. And I know we
Okay.
have been having conversations on each of our pages on career planning. So today, basically, what we're going to be doing is talking about some of the things we have been already sharing. And what we're going to do is we're going to do it in a format of answering 3 questions specifically. And the first
Okay.
one is, what are some of the best practices for developing and executing an effective career plan that will lead to success? What are some of the career planning pitfalls to avoid? So, Yvonne, based on your own practices as an individual, but also being in the careers profession and having worked with people, what would you say are some of the best practices for a plan that works, basically? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get. Number one, I really feel that it's very important to set goals. I know it sounds very cliche. I know everyone says you have to set goals. You need to make sure that
Yeah.
you're up to date in terms of making sure that you've really written down those goals. And
Mhm.
it actually works. For me, it actually works. And there's different
Yeah.
strategies in which, you can ensure that your goals, you actually keep up with your goals. I think I don't know where I saw this post where it said that I think only about 3% of people actually stick to their goals by the end of January. Like those
Mhm.
odds are
January.
really, really low.
Okay.
And okay, of course, there are very many factors that contribute to that. In January, typically most people are broke. So you just feel like it's time to put my everything so that I'm not in this situation again. Again, it feels like a new year, it's
Yeah.
a new year. So new me. There's of course that as well. There's that element to it as well. So
Mm.
I think that's probably what leads to that very low statistic. However,
Mm.
I always feel like if there's someone who you're accountable to, someone who can actually,
Mm.
get you and say, Marianne, we spoke about this last year in this, and you picked this as one of your plans.
Yeah.
Like, where are we? Where are we
Mm.
so far? Someone who can actually genuinely push you towards those. I mean, there are other factors, but
Mm.
just not to digress. Yeah. So setting
Yeah.
goals and importantly, having
Yeah.
timelines for those goals. I feel like that is
Yeah.
really, really important. Of course, following through the SMART goals, the
Mm. Yeah.
SMART, yeah, SMART
Yeah.
goals, setting those
Yeah.
SMART goals, as cliche as it sounds, it actually really
Mm.
works. And adding
Yeah.
on uh, accountability face it also really helps, yeah. Then
Yeah.
I would say as avoiding what to avoid, yeah. in
Mm.
this coming year, I would say it would probably be, like I think people really neglect continuous learning. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
One of the things that I'm seeing as something that we'll be forced to get into.
Mhm.
It's oh my gosh, the world is changing so fast.
So
Every
fast. Yeah.
single day you wake up and something has changed. So I'm
Mm.
really hoping that people embrace upskilling, people embrace reskilling, people are very adaptable to,
Mm.
to new trends that are coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you completely. In fact, a lot of what I had is very similar to what you have. My first best practice, and this is out of, I guess, my own experience, my personal experience, yes, but also my experience working with clients. I find that the number one thing that causes people to fall off the journey to get into their goals is lack of an accountability system. Yeah. So having
Yes.
either an individual or a community who can keep you accountable, and I have mine written down because I'm a very good with
Yeah.
remember things off the top of my head. So having a
Yeah.
system around accountability, having one a person, and then also having a system in terms of checking in. Yeah. So once
Yeah.
you set your goals, for example, in January, it doesn't make sense for you to assume that you accomplish the goal without regular check-ins, because in the check-ins is where you're able to see, okay, so how well am I doing? And the thing is, sometimes when you put down a goal at the beginning of January, things happen in the middle and you need to reprioritize or prioritize. So having a regular check-in will enable you to see, okay, I think my goal needs to change, or I think I need to shift my goal in this way to be able to achieve it. But if you don't have
Yeah.
those regular check-ins, which is kind of accountability for yourself, then it's very possible you're not going to be able to hit your goals. So one, having
Yeah.
individuals
Or
who can,
adjust even.
yes, yes. So having
Yeah.
individuals who will keep you accountable, and two, having check-ins, like setting something that actually lives on your calendar as a check-in for your goals. So it can't be
Yeah.
just a thing that you think in your head, but something that's actually on your calendar and that you can execute. So yeah, I think that's one of my fast best practices. So ensuring you have
Yeah.
an accountability or support system. The other one is actually what you talked about, having smart goals. Yeah. So, okay, you say you want to build your brand. What does that mean? What
Yeah.
does that mean for you? You say you want to get promoted. What does that mean for you? Because sometimes I feel like we set down goals that are not in our circle of influence. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you can't promote yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, but you can take on projects that can help you be in front of the right eyes. You can set up that meeting with your manager and have the conversation.
Yeah.
So when you're writing your goal, focus on your circle of influence, because I feel like one reason why sometimes we struggle with our goals and we feel like I'm unable to hit my goals is because it's not in your circle of influence. So write smart goals. They have to be, I think, what's the first one? What's the first S? I forget.
It's oh my gosh.
I know it's measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound. S is what I forget. But for it to be attainable and realistic, it has to be in your circle of influence.
Yeah.
So if you want a promotion, if you want to shift industries, if you want to grow in whatever way that you want to grow, just take some real time to think about how is my goal smart. Yeah. Yeah, and then my last one, and this is something I have been singing from the top of the roof since last year, is start with a review. So this is something else I find that I viewed as a mistake that people are making, is that you're setting goals for 2024 when for the past 3 years you've been setting goals and they haven't been working out. Yeah. Thank you, Tracy. It's specific. Tracy gave us a yes. Yeah. So if you want to set goals for 2024, have you reviewed your
Yeah.
previous? I know what has been working, what hasn't been working. Yeah. Review your journey so far. And for a lot of people, because it's not a practice that we have done for a couple of years, you're going to have to set aside some good time to review your career progress so far. So how have you been doing? What are your achievements? What have been your contributions? What strengths do you have? What are your areas of interest? So that even as you're putting together your plan for the next year, it's aligned with who you have been so far. Yeah. So not setting goals out of trends, out of probably what you're seeing your peers and your colleagues doing, but setting goals out of your own personal reflection, your own personal understanding of who you are and who you have been, and also
Yeah.
who you are, how you are evolving. Yeah. So I think those are my three. So investing in an accountability system, so a person and a check-in, smart goals, and lastly, starting with a review of your previous years and your progress so far. Yeah. And actually,
Yeah.
I think I'd like to add one more, Yvonne, and that's
Yeah.
career tracking. And we also recently talked about this. I know you also. I don't know if you still provide the service, but I know you do coaching. But do you do CV writing still?
Yeah, we still do it.
Yeah. What would you say? And maybe I'm kind of setting you up, but what would you say is one of the biggest challenges for people when writing their CVs?
Okay, I mean, it's still the same thing, not customizing the CV to the specific job. So they're
Yeah.
just spraying and praying that one particular CV, aside from even the formatting, as in, let's not even get into that. Like, you're
Yeah.
literally just using that same CV and hoping
Yeah.
that it works for you. Although now I'm seeing it changing a bit, especially with regards to AI, the development of AI. CVs are definitely improving. Yeah.
Mm.
But I, even with AI, people are still sending the same exact CV
Yeah.
for the same role, for different roles rather. Yeah. So I think that's
Yeah.
the best mistake that people are
Yeah.
making.
Would
Yeah.
you say that people struggle because this has been my experience that people struggle with um, knowing what their accomplishments and achievements are. They really, and the thing is, at the beginning they do, but with a bit of questioning, a bit of helping them understand, then at the end you realize that they actually have so many
Much.
accomplishments, so many
Yes.
achievements. Do you experience that?
A lot, like especially during the coaching service, now when we're
Mm,
having the personalized coaching, and
yeah.
initially, of course, you've already gone through their CV and they begin speaking and you're like, I didn't see that in your CV. I've not seen
Yes.
any of that. I had no idea that that's what you do. You
Yes.
understand? Yeah. So
Yes.
yes, for sure that
Yeah.
happens a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think for me, after seeing that so much, one thing that I'm really advocating for is people begin to track their progress and their achievements on a living document, not in their
Yes,
heads,
the
not
wins. Yeah,
on a
it's
living
true.
document. Because surely if you're working 20, 15, 30 years, you're not going to be able to keep track of all your accomplishments. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm really encouraging people to do and advocating for in 2024 for every single thing, big and small. Whether you're able to set up a document management system for your as an administrator, whatever it was that you did, having a place where you're tracking it, tracking what your contribution was, even things as and people view this as insignificant, but it is significant. Um, Being applauded in a meeting at the end of a
Yeah.
meeting or being awarded, things like that. Keep track of those things because it really has so much value for yourself as an individual because obviously your self-esteem is boosted significantly,
Yeah.
but also in terms of self-advocacy, it helps you to advocate for yourself so much better. So that's another best practice for 2024.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I
thank you.
maybe add one more?
Yes,
Or
yes, yes,
rather, I'd like to just digress a bit,
yes,
Miriam, if
yes,
you'll allow me.
yes, yes.
I feel like we definitely need to talk about the things that we need to leave in 2023. And I really feel like, like some advice that we've had so much that I feel like,
Yeah,
no, we should not carry this into 2024. I feel like
yeah.
someone, the whole idea around, follow your passion. I
Mm,
feel like, as much as it sounds like good advice, it really sounds like it is. Uh,
yeah.
I believe like maybe only 10% of people who are, in the career level know what
Mm,
their passion is.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Mm.
think we have to now get to a point where we are more, I lost you,
Yeah, you're breaking up, but I can hear you.
Marianne. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that kind of advice? Follow your passion.
I think any advice that is okay, here's my thought. There's a spectrum.
Yeah.
And if you lean too far left or too far right, I feel like that's a dangerous place to be. So I feel you have to have a balance. So if you're talking about passion, don't lean too far to one side that you're not considering trends, you're not considering the opportunities available, because at the end of the day you're selling a skill, you're in a marketplace. That's why it's called the marketplace. So you can't sell what people don't want. So just having some sort of
Exactly.
critical thinking around it, yeah. Because I do believe that to some degree it plays a role into our careers. And I think what I would call it is interest. Because passion is, passion is good, but for most people it's misunderstood. So I'd call
Yeah.
it, what are your interests, yeah, and moving towards an interest, and then not just identifying, knowing the interest, but also researching the interest. So if you are interested in, let's say, the green economy, researching it, understanding it, building the skills for it. So it's not just a matter of, I really like this thing or this place, but I'm going in informed. I'm going in having done my
Yeah.
research. I think that's what I'd say. Any advice that is on the end of the spectrum, on either end, is dangerous advice. So there has
It's
to be a
dangerous.
balance. Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, yeah.
And even the fact, I think people have different passions and passions change. I remember when I was leaving employment, I was super passionate about cooking. So what did
Yeah,
I do? I opened a restaurant, right? And yeah, the passion just didn't love me back,
yeah,
you know? So it,
yeah,
I mean, all of a sudden I was not so passionate about it.
mm,
Before that, I was a marketer and I was
yeah,
very passionate about marketing. Of course, by
yeah,
then, when I had started working, there was nothing quite digital about marketing. So,
mm,
my point is that yes, you can advise someone to follow their passion, but which passion? So, I may
mm,
have different passions. So, which one is it that I'm following? That's what I mean
yeah,
about, when I say that why follow your passion isn't really great career advice. If you have a passion that you're able to run with in terms of
yeah,
your career, well and
yeah,
good. But
yeah,
I think we career practitioners really need to rethink how we advise when it comes to
yeah,
when it comes to passion. Maybe another
yeah,
thing is another piece of advice that I would say I'm not really big on is never give up.
mm,
Uh, it gets to a point where someone has tried and tried and tried. It's called, I think, it's called what? Sunk cost fallacy, where
yeah,
you're just really insisting on
yeah,
this project, on this career
yeah,
path, on this,
yeah,
and you're just like, I'm going to die with it. So I feel
yeah,
like we need to leave that in 2023. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I guess those two are the ones that really stand out, and also,
yeah.
really practicing how to focus and even say no sometimes at work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I agree. I agree completely. In fact, when you mentioned that the last the what do you call it, something fallacy, I
the
was just thinking
sunk
about
cost
something.
fallacy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sunk cost fallacy. Okay, so I think that
yeah,
the one of the reasons, one of the danger zones to be in, especially in career, is making decisions in isolation. And I think that's why we really encourage community, we really encourage accountability, because when you make decisions in isolation, you don't have any feedback. You're not able
yeah,
to see your own blind spots. Yeah. So
absolutely.
whether it's through an accountability system, whether it's through a community, whether it's going to see a careers professional and just say, you know what, here's what I'm thinking,
Yeah,
and getting feedback from that, then it's very possible you're going to be making decisions that may not 100% be beneficial for you. Yeah. Awesome. So let's get into the second question,
okay.
which is what are the top skills and capabilities that will be high in demand in the job market in 2024?
Oh, wow.
Demand
I mean,
2024. Mm.
the obvious one is the rise of AI. I think right now, everyone who's employed or everyone who's in their careers really needs to be aware of AI and how that can contribute or, take away some of the roles, within this organization. So that's number one. We just need to be aware, look at how the future of our jobs look like vis-a-vis, the introduction of AI. I think people really, really, really now have to be resilient and adaptable. Those are two very important skills that, regardless of which career industry you're in, you really just have to practice adaptability and resilience. Of course, with AI comes digital literacy. So, like, for instance, even if you're like us, career practitioners, we really need to now start thinking, how can we streamline our processes better to better serve our clients? How can what software can we use now to make even our work easier? And just as we're looking at some of these things for our businesses, people in employment also need to do the same. Again, really focusing on the future of work. One other thing that I feel like is really important is continuous learning. Again, because the work space, the workforce is really, really changing, and we need to ensure that we are up to date with, our skills. So I'm very big on upskilling, reskilling if necessary. So embracing, continuous learning to really stay ahead in this really dynamic job market.
Yeah. I agree 100%. In fact, there's a lot of overlap, obviously, because we're in the same space between some of the things in some of the things that you're talking about. For me, one of the top ones is from the WEF job. What is it called? Future of Jobs Report 2023, and that was analytical and critical thinking skills. And why this is important for me is because when you think about skills, you think about something like, for example, report writing or data analysis or project management. I feel like generally it's easier to think about how you're going to upskill in that, But the Future of Jobs Report 23 highlights analytical thinking and creative thinking as the top skills for employers worldwide. So for me, it really got me thinking, okay, so how do we develop analytical or creative thinking skills? Because for most people, it's not easy for you to just go and do a test, do an exam, do a course to build your critical thinking or your creative thinking skills. And another thing that made it interesting for me is that these two functions come from different parts of our brains. So creative thinking is one part of our brain, analytical is another part. Analytical is the data, is the facts. Creative is the openness, So it was very interesting to me that these were the top skills that were being demanded for by employers globally. So thinking through how do we develop the skills, some of the things that I was thinking about is, for example, for analytical skills, a way to develop them is to take on problem-solving projects that require gathering data, evaluating data, learning how to use tools like the SWOT analysis actually develops analytical thinking. So the way you upskill in these skills is actually you have to do the job to develop it. You have to put yourself in places where it's uncomfortable. You have to kind of stretch your thinking. So taking on those problem-solving projects at work that demand data analysis, that demand research, that demand going through facts and making decisions. The other thing is when it comes to creativity, you think about take on projects that require innovation. So you have a problem in your organization and they're looking for a brainstorming team. Join the team. That's how you develop your creative thinking skills. You will not do a course on Coursera or on Udemy or on LinkedIn. You have to engage to build that thinking skill. So I found that very interesting. And I think furthermore, like to add on to that, the other thing that I was thinking about is that these skills apply to everyone. So it doesn't just apply to the person in data, that doesn't just apply to the person who is a web developer. It applies to the administrator, it applies to the driver, it applies to everyone, having the ability to think analytically and critically and make decisions. So I really found that very, very, very interesting. So think about how are you.
Sorry, Marianne. And how about the ones who are not employed? Because I'd like us also to touch on that. I know you've mentioned that like you need to actually practice to be able to acquire those skills, isn't it? A lot of the people who I'm sure are our audience maybe don't have those jobs to practice. So what happens to them?
Yeah. So for me, I think you don't need a paying job to practice the skill. Volunteer opportunities. A lot of us have family people who have small businesses, volunteering for those businesses. Thinking about what opportunities do I have around me to practice those skills. If you're a person who is probably in the tech world, there are a lot of thankfully for you, there's a lot of what do they call them? Open source opportunities or communities for you to practice your skills in that area. So there are opportunities. They might not be paid opportunities, but there are opportunities. And to be honest, I think if there's ever a time that you can be creative, it's when you're not employed, because that's now when you're forced to really tap into your innovativeness to be able to solve to get solutions for yourself. So volunteership, shadowing, think about people around you who has a small business who you can volunteer your services to them. I don't know what else do you think, Yvonne?
I think for me, people really just have to embrace networking now, and the right way of networking. So really reaching out to people on LinkedIn and volunteering their service. I always say this, whenever I have training sessions and all, whenever I'm speaking to whoever wishes to listen, networking is like banking. It only makes sense if you deposit more than you withdraw, right? So that's how networking should be. You should be willing to give. So what skills do you have? What are some of the pain points that you're seeing Staff Scout, for instance, is struggling with? Have you gone on their social media page and like, oh my gosh, they really need to improve in one or two things? I mean, I would definitely, if I get an email from someone telling me, Yvonne, I've seen your page, I love what you're doing, I would love to plug in one or two ways, and they've actually explained some of the pain points or some of the shortcomings that we have, at in the organization, why not give them a chance? And the ratio of who will respond to who will not respond is pretty low. You'll probably get like 30% of the people that you reach out to responding. So that gives you more work. Like, you have to reach out to people, network, and get yourself out there. You really have to put in the work to be able to get it. This is for people who are not employed.
Yes. And there are truly opportunities out there. And if you have a challenge with getting such opportunities, another way is to open a freelance account and start doing small jobs as you grow.
Exactly.
Another one of the skills that I had was, like you said, digital fluency, digital literacy. So how is tech across the board? How is it integrating to your field? Because I think recently, I read a post by someone on LinkedIn talking about it's no longer going to be about like the technology space. Technology is now everywhere. It's
everywhere.
In every place. Yes. So having that information, how are you going to integrate that into your space? That's going to be a key skill going forward. Some other across the board skills that are going to be very high in demand this year is data analysis. And why I say data analysis as an across the board skill, because it's at every level, in every organization, at every role, there's data that you're going to be handling. So being able to analyze that data is going to be a key skill. Project management, that's an across the board skill. You don't just have to be in the project management role. Sustainability, that's becoming a really, really big thing. So sustainability skills like compliance, carbon accounting, policy and sustainability. Those are going to be really high in demand skills in 2024 and going forward. Communication, and this one is one that
yeah.
I almost just, I don't know. I almost just Googled why is it so hard? Why is communication such? Because for a lot of employers, especially here in Kenya, especially in the entry levels phase, communication is said to be a skill that is lacking. And if we to think about communication, it sounds so simple.
It does.
So it does. It really does.
Not.
Until it's not. So how are you able to? And like you're right. It sounds simple until it's not. How are you able to communicate effectively ideas? So how are you able think about how are you able to practice your communication skills, whether through public speaking, report writing, engage in situations that force you to do that, to practice your communication skills, because at the end of the day, those are going to be things that set you apart. So other more specific to industry skills that I was thinking about or was researching on was computing, cybersecurity, machine learning, content creation, and management has become a monster on its own. I think it's called the orange. It's in the orange economy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a monster. And you and I both know because we are business people who are. Let me just not go there. But it's going to be a thing of its own. Instructional design and L&D. So people who are in HR, these are areas that you can easily transition into. L&D, instructional design, because of the high reskilling efforts that will be needed by organizations. Yeah, I think those are like some of the key skills that that I don't know. Are there any others that have come up?
I think you've mentioned most. Yeah, I think that should do it for now. But I think ideally, the idea is people just go out there and check, what does the future of your industry look like? What does the future of your job look like? And then tap into that and even bring it into your organization. And I mean, for those who are not employed yet, ensure that you're now is the time to really invest in, upskilling in some of these areas. Because I know that there's a really big skills gap from what you're taught in universities and what is expected in the job market. So this is your time to actually do lots of research around, what is actually needed in the job market.
Yeah. So I'm going to be the devil's advocate and also say, before you upskill or reskill, please do your research.
Yeah.
Because I find that we can jump on trends very easily. And I know we've talked about data analysis, we've talked about project management, we've talked about across the board high on demand skills, but you need to do your research for yourself as an individual. Where are you going? And also understand your area. Where is it going?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we jump into skilling or reskilling without really thinking about where is this taking me? How is this? How is this plugging into my plan? It needs to plug into your plan.
Yeah.
So doing a master's just because you've done your degree and you've been in the workplace for 5 years is not the obvious reskilling step.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not. It's really not. You're living in a different world. You may never need to do a master's, depending on where you are and what your plans are. So being very smart about the time you spend, the resources you spend on upskilling and reskilling, so that you're able to get the best out of that investment. Yeah.
Yeah. I get you. I really understand what you mean. Yes, of course, I'm also not big on advising someone to go back and get, another degree, for instance. I'd really advocate for, remove yourself from your situation, get a third party opinion. That's why it's really important. I think, and it's a trend that's actually happening now, just get a career coach, someone who has gone through and has been taught, to help you with your career. These are people, it's like a doctor who has gone through the 7 years of learning and done maybe a specialization in a particular field. So it's exactly what career coaches have done. Of course, lots of due diligence needs to be done around, which career coach you're plugging into. But I feel that's a conversation for another day. But
for the next career circle conversation.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, when all is said and done, get that extra advice, from someone who is a third party, someone who would not be emotionally involved, to give you emotional advice. This is just a third party who doesn't know you. They've just heard about your progress, and like they're just trying to figure out, okay, fine. I think the next step would be to do one or two things. So yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Marianne.
Yeah. And actually, that has made me to think about one more skill, which may not be in demand from the market end, but it is a skill that's going to set you apart, which is career management skills. And I think what's made me think about that is that that's the goal of a career coach, professional guidance person, counselor, to empower you with career management skills. So the ability to identify your strengths, to develop planning and career goals, to plan your personal and career development, and to make meaningful goals for your career. So career management skills are definitely going to set you apart. And it's not something, at least on this end of the globe, the global south, it's not something that it's still coming up and people are still learning about it, because for the most part, we've just had to figure out our way. But just build your career management skills. Work on understanding yourself, working on understanding the market. That's going to be a skill that really sets you apart for the coming years, because we're living in a really strange. We're living in strange times where things are changing every 2 months. Like the AI. When did it happen? Was it last year?
It's just last year, towards the end, literally.
And it's changed everything. Like everything.
Like by the time we started 2023, I don't even think, no, it wasn't a thing. It really wasn't a thing.
Yeah. So we cannot run our careers or manage our careers with a 20th century mindset in a 21st century world. It's not going to work. Things are shifting too fast. We need new skills, and we need to be able to manage our own careers. We are shifting careers up to 12 times in this new world of work. So it's important you build the skill to manage your own career. Great. Oh my gosh, it's almost 15 to 8. So we're just going to quickly go to the last question, and then we'll open up the floor for answers. Please feel free to drop your questions. Yes, please feel free to drop your questions in the comment. We are having a fun time. I hope you are as well, and taking notes and seeing how is this relevant to me, because we do believe it has relevance to you in some way or another. So last one, Yvonne, what are some ineffective or counterproductive career planning? Oh, no, we already talked about that one. Emerging fields that we should keep an eye on. So we talked about skills. Now we're talking about fields, and they might overlap, but we can just see if there's anything there that's left.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm really thinking, I think the skills are what actually will guide us onto what fields will be emerging. So tech, for sure. Tech will definitely be, I know you've said tech is not necessarily a field right now, because everyone is ideally supposed to be, techie as it is, whether you're in HR, whether you're in, an engineer, whatever field you're in. I think we all need to ensure that, we are tech savvy, but I think we really need to watch out for that space. And especially, and how it will affect all of these industries that we are in. Another thing that I've seen that's really emerging, and especially in the social enterprise, is something called carbon what? I need to.
Carbon accounting? No.
Carbon, not carbon currency. Oh, I've forgotten. It's carbon. I need to. Yeah, it's something, now because I do quite a bit of recruitment and placement. A lot of the social enterprises are really investing in that. And it's not a field that a lot of people, I think, once we are done and this stream is posted on LinkedIn, I'll just comment on the comment section once I remember what it is. So a lot of companies are actually investing in learning that particular carbon, whatever it is that I forget, and even investing in teaching people about that particular field. So that's one other field to really look out for. As you mentioned, the even just the space of hours, I believe it's an industry that is also really, really, really. Sorry, I think I lost you for a second there.
Just a second, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me, Marianne?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hello.
I can hear you, Yvonne.
Oh, good. Sorry, I think my my connection is not the best.
No,
okay, good. Yeah, so I believe like even our field.
Yes.
Our field in the career development is also a field that's really, really growing and that we really need to look out for. Another one is the freelance and remote working field as well. That's another place that will blow up in 2024 because people will really be looking for alternatives for permanent and pensionable jobs that are not quite available, especially in Kenya. So I'm seeing that really, really growing.
Yeah. Very true. It's actually interesting that you started with the carbon. So what I have seen is carbon finance because I don't know what I was doing, but I was looking at the carbon industry, and I saw even in Kenya we actually have jobs app for carbon finance, which is pretty new. So I think for me, some of the emerging fields are sustainability, which is actually carbon is in it, the ESG, the compliance jobs, and jobs of that sort. Also, think about mental health, a very big thing, a very big area which is growing significantly. In Kenya, we have Shamiri, which is really trying to advocate for the improvement of mental health in young people. Things to do with blockchain, so blockchain jobs. Then we have VR, AR jobs. Gaming has become a whole industry by itself, even in Kenya, which I thought that was a global north thing, but it's become a whole area. So there's also VR, AR gaming, AI jobs, obviously. And the thing about some of these areas is that you don't have to be like the web developer or the coder. You could be in sales. So having a specification, for example, in AI sales. I saw a role, what is the role? AI ethicist, to do with ethics. So people who are in law, that's an area you could get into. People who are in law can easily get into that.
Wow.
HR, you can also easily get into that. Research, AI research. So if you're in research and you're interested in tech, that would be a beautiful match for you. Jobs in data protection, compliance. Basically, the world is changing in so many ways. So these are some of the key emerging fields that are coming up. Drone pilots, people in genetics, and I think why it's important for us to share these fields. Just in case you're there and you're wondering, there's so much happening. Is understanding the trends in your fields helps you to get a head start and also specialize, which is always an advantage. So if you've been in the industry for a couple of years, this is a good time for you to start seeing how can I begin to set myself apart. If you're able to do that, you're able to earn more, you're able to grow faster. So keeping an eye on the trends is very important to be able to help you to accelerate your career growth. It's also important again because, like we said, the world is changing. I'm again going to refer to the Future of Jobs report by the World Economic Forum, and I really strongly suggest you go through it if you can. They have infographics if you're not a reader, in a short, in a summarized version of it. But they say that in the next 5 years, Yvonne, there are going to be 69 million jobs created. 69 million jobs created.
Oh, wow.
5 years. So what does that mean? And they also talk about how 44% of our skills will need to be reskilled. Will need to be reskilled. 44%. So think about all the skills you have. You need to kind of double your reskilling in that sense.
Yeah.
So that just shows the urgency and the importance of just keeping your ear to the ground and being curious about, okay, what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And also contextualizing that to your area. Obviously, here in the global south is different from what's happening out there in the global north. So, what is important for us here in Kenya? What policies are being passed? That's one way you can know what's relevant for you. If you're looking to earn in USD and work in the global north, looking at what challenges are they facing and how can I tap into that? How can I upskill to tap into that? So yeah, so we're going to anything you would like to add, Yvonne, as we open up the floor for questions.
For questions, yeah, no, I really understand what you're saying. It's really important that people again are looking to the future to really try and figure out where do I stand. Even the statistic that you've just shared, that in the next 5 years, 69 million new jobs are being created. So I'm thinking about, the people who are currently just entering university this year. By the time they're done, like, will what they've learned be even relevant? You understand? Like, this problem goes way deeper. Like, the government policies towards education need to change. There's so much that needs to be done with regards to, just ensuring that we remain competitive as a nation, that we remain competitive as, as individuals, even working towards, successful careers. So, I mean, before that is done, I believe that each of us just need to do our due diligence, go out there, as you said, like, figure out what next for yourself. When we say we are not necessarily saying that you go and do a master's. If that will work for you, well and good. But if there are particular skills that you believe, will take you to the next level, please go ahead and do it. I think time is of the essence. Yeah.
Yes. And I think, like, what you're saying, for me, I'm like, that's why it's so important that we develop career management skills, because ultimately career management skills enables you to drive your own professional development, aside from the education systems, aside from the systems that should be set up but are not set up yet.
Exactly.
If you own your own career and build a skill to manage your career, then you'll be able to survive and thrive.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your journey. I mean, even if you engage a career coach, there's only so much that they can do for you. It's your journey. You need to take ownership and be, again, accountability was one of the skills that we had mentioned on, when we're talking about the second question. Be accountable for your own journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you have any questions. I'm not seeing any questions, but I can go through some of the comments that people had made.
Okay.
So we had Cheryl, sorry, who says, I think when we talk about never giving up, let's keep it on not giving up on us. I love that. On not giving up on ourselves. Acknowledging something isn't working is part of not giving up and going back to the drawing board. I like that.
I love that. Yeah. I know. I love that. Even just back to that story of mine where I opened up a restaurant and, it was really not working. But, as I had to rethink, right? I had to go back. It's not that I just dropped everything and said, this is just not working. I'm moving on to the next thing. So this is after a year of really struggling, with that business. But I figured out that, doing events was actually working. That bit of the business was actually working. It's something that's running to date as like that's now more of a side hustle. But yes, I understand. Never giving up on ourselves.
Yes.
I love that, Shirley.
Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Yes, thank you so much, Cheryl. So we also have one here that says, first is realize your passion, and from that there are so many open source resources, like I was saying, to use on a personal level for readiness the job market, and to develop skills that one can venture into consultancy and be self-employed. Correct. I completely 100% agree with that. Then we also have
is really it's really an ish topic for me, because how do you find your passion? Okay, we can talk about this another day.
Yeah, we actually will. We'll sit down and talk about it.
Yeah.
If that's something that's of interest to you and you're listening to us, please let us know in the comments what would you like us to talk about in this
Yeah.
career success series. Then we also have data science is one of the lucrative fields. I agree, tech field at large. We agree with you 100%. So I think that's it. Thank you so much. We're 5 minutes into eight. Okay, Yvonne, any last words as we close this conversation?
I really think I have said everything with regards to, this was like more of a futuristic session. We're really trying to figure out how we can plan very well for, for success, really, essentially in
Yeah,
2024. So I love
yeah,
that you brought up that, for us to move forward, we really need to look back. We need to look back at some of the mistakes that we made, what
yeah,
worked, what didn't work,
yeah,
what are some of the things that
yeah,
we're going to keep doing and improve on, what are some of these
mm,
things that we've decided, nope, it's not working, we're going to let go of it. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that it's really important, number one, set those goals. Number two,
mm,
have that accountability partner. Number three,
mm,
let us look at the future of our jobs, of the industries
yeah,
that we are in.
yeah,
Explore some of these things that you're good at, your strengths, even some of your weaknesses.
mm,
Someone's strength, someone being too aggressive or too forward may come off
mm,
as, it may sound like a strength, but it could
yeah,
end up being like you're just a greedy person. So there, I
yeah,
mean, or even those weaknesses that you have, and your strengths as well. Try and build
mm,
your career around, always, wanting to learn and relearn
mm,
and
mm,
upskill,
mm,
because we've definitely seen that that is the way to go in 2024.
yeah,
I don't want it to look like, oh my gosh, it's so scary, like, looking forward and what to expect. It feels
mm,
like, this is so scary, I don't know what if I'm ever going to achieve this. But I
mm,
always say that if your goals are scary, you're definitely on the right path, for sure. You
yeah,
just really push through,
yeah,
until you get to the other side. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I like what you said about being scared because sometimes it can be a bit much
Yeah,
to take in.
can.
And I think for me, I always say that it's important that you're moving. Doesn't matter how slow, doesn't matter how fast, just keep moving.
Yeah.
So if in this year for you it's taking things slow, but you have chosen to do this one thing, then do that one thing. Yeah. If next year you're passionate, you're have the energy, then do more. Yeah. But the thing
Yeah.
is, just keep the momentum going. The momentum matters. So the other thing for me as we close is I think 2024, if you can allow it to be about anything, let it be about ownership of your professional life, even your personal life. And what I mean by that is to move away from seeing ourselves as pawns in a system, whether as employees or just pawns being moved around and being used, and just take ownership of your career. What can you do? Yes, things are happening like this in my company. Yes, the job market is the way it is, but what can you do? And just take ownership. And it's easier said than done, I know, but you cannot influence what you cannot influence. So take ownership of your career. If you can, seek the services of a professional, even if it's just one session or two sessions, just gain clarity on how to build your career management skills. But take ownership of your career. I think the other thing, and this is specifically to people in our context, is we need to begin to think of ourselves as globally competitive talent. So thinking beyond I was going to say the four walls of our country, but what I mean is you need to think beyond those four walls. If there are four, there are six corners. I don't know how many they are, but you need to think beyond that. And that's going to be the only way you're going to make your career sustainable. So think beyond those four walls. There are so many opportunities out there for you, but you need to think outside the box. Yeah, so we really hope that 2024 is the year for you of growth, of intention, of purpose, of passion, which we will talk about sometime this year, hopefully. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Yeah, and we are now at the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us. If you have anything yes, if you have anything you want to say, we're in the comments. We'll be in the comments at least for the next 30 minutes. Any questions, we can answer them there. Thank you so much. See you again in the next Career Circle. Asante.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.